Have you ever felt stuck in your own head, held back by procrastination, maybe haunted by regrets and unsure how to move forward? That was me for years. And what do I mean by years? I mean a very long time. And it took a very long time to get out of that headspace as far as the procrastination, the regrets, and unsure where to move forward. Thank you guys for joining me today. Today's topic of today is going to be broken down into 3 ideas that I got along my walk today, and necessarily kind of strategize and mapping what we're going to be talking about today, which is a very interesting thing that I think a lot of people deal with, and we're going to be jumping into it. So if you're trying to level up in life, but you feel stuck in the past or frozen by inaction, this one's totally dedicated for you guys. So just to give you guys a brief backstory in my life on how I was affected by procrastination was my earlier years when I moved to Staten Island when I was a younger kid. So moving out of New Jersey and starting a whole entire new life, and a lot of things that I did as time went on, I really procrastinated, whether it was cleaning my room, arguing with my parents, other things in that nature, such as I have a school assignment coming up, couldn't even do it. Sometimes I was known as the person by my parents that, they'd be like, oh, hey, Jay could literally sit down, act like the world was blowing up right before him, and he just wouldn't care. And they considered me very nonchalant, but I do get that a lot. But my thing was the procrastination. So being nonchalant and just being a procrastinator, it seems like you just don't give a crap about anything in life, but it necessarily wasn't that. So the procrastination that I had, which most people do have, is the delaying of the goals and dreams. And to be honest, it was a very difficult time to do this, especially when you think of, oh, you got this and that to do, and you just put it off. Like you think, oh yeah, I got tomorrow. And while you do think about it, it's a very negative thing, but it's not overly negative in this sort of sense where you're procrastinating over things. And it's not your fault entirely, because it's a big mental battle. And what do I mean by mental battle? You might be asking, Jay, what do you mean by mental battle? What I mean by it is it's very psychological in the sort of sense that you get decision fatigue. And this is what sales taught me, and I'm going to put on to you guys. Sales is a lot of psychology, which I learned, and I really do love it in the sort of sense how it breaks down decision fatigue. And I think that's what helped me move a lot more forward in my life, because when I realized that I get decision fatigue when there's certain things I want to do, but I'll put it off because I'm like, oh, I'm overthinking and I'm waiting for the perfect moment to do it, whether it be, hey, I want to go talk to this girl that I see. Boom, I'd wait way too long, and time would go on till one day I created this method. Like anytime you do have procrastination or any idea, it's the 1, 2, 3 method. So it's like something mental. You're not going to say it out loud if you're in public, but in your head the count should be 1, 2, 3, and regardless of what happens, you're not going to die at the end of the day. I mean, I hope not from shock. I mean, you never know nowadays. So I will say the 1, 2, 3 method has been a very big thing as far as a mechanism to move forward to combat that procrastination, where that became a defense mechanism for me, because it made me feel very safe at one point. And I felt like if I just didn't do it, I wouldn't have to worry about it. Or, hey, listen, I got more time. I could do it. And as time moved on, years went by. Literal years went by of things that I wanted to do when I was younger that I put off, that now that I'm older, I tend to regret that, why I didn't do it. Like writing down some ideas, plan goals, but never really act on them, which is going to come back into topic 2. So, regret. Basically, the constant problem with putting things off is going to eventually start to carry around the pile of regrets. And I had a lot of regrets growing up. There's a lot of things that I wish I could have done. I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I started it when I was younger. I had this big imagination where I was like, hey, I wanted to do what PewDiePie was doing, playing video games and commentating over it and watching it. But then as time goes on, life pulls you in these random predicaments where the only thing you could do is just act on it. And sometimes the regret is just something you live with, and you can't turn back time, because if you could turn back time, everybody would be doing it, which is a funny saying, because that should be your call to action, something that you should just like feel within you that resonates, that you're like, I'm not gonna let this stop me from doing what I need to do. Because there was a lot of things that I regret, especially during my sports career. I feel like I didn't give it 100% as far as what I could have did going forward. I feel like my high school years compared to what I did when I was in middle school was a lot more different, because as time goes on, the competition gets better. And with that, I got more lazier. And with that, I picked up a lot of bad habits that I could have resolved when I was in middle school, going into high school to develop into a better person, that now I'm kind of backtracking. Now that I'm an adult, that I'm kind of making fixes basically because I didn't do it when I was much younger. And one of the biggest regrets was not getting my license early on. I shit you guys not, I don't want to curse, but I took a very long time to get my license. Very funny thing, I got it at 22, which was December of last year, when I basically lost everything. This was before I lost my job in December, before I lost my girlfriend. So this was something that's been a very long time waiting. So I want to let you guys know that, yeah, you can live with regrets, but you can move forward from it. And I always had this saying that I'm gonna start today. I'm gonna do it. And then boom, it just lingers in your mind as time goes on, when you didn't do it, that you're mentally, emotionally like unstable. You're like, dude, like, what is going on in my life? And I do want to let you guys know that regret doesn't stop showing up all at once. It creeps in, and before you know it, you're looking back more than you're looking forward. So I want to let you guys know that you guys can move past the regret. And I want to tell you about the thing is look at regret like the past, or look at procrastination like a pause button, and look at living and moving forward as you're pressing play, you're watching that video in the present, and when you skip along, like you press that fast forward button, you're moving ahead. Regardless whether you watched it or not, life is moving forward, and it's your job to keep moving forward regardless. Whether there's regret in your life, the procrastination, sometimes it's better to do than not to do at the end of the day. And the more you just do, and the more you bump your head, and the more you throw shit at the wall and it sticks, you'll feel a lot more better than the guy who's has all these perfect ideas but never acts on them. But guess what? The guy who actually acts and actually gets it done is the person they're going to remember, rather than the guy that they have no idea who he is, because he doesn't put himself out there, and he always lives in the maybe one day. Because at the end of the day, life is going to keep moving, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. And you have to accept it for what it is, pick up where you left off, and just move forward at 100 miles per hour. Because guess what? Slow motion is always better than no motion. I always preach that like the choir, because I've seen it 100 times. There's a lot of people that build the foundation early on that get ahead than most people, because they understand the fundamentals in moving forward. That, there's certain things you can't control. You can't control the weather. You can't control whether your girlfriend's going to love you the next day. You can't control whether your parents are going to come back home angry from their jobs. You can't control who you're going to get as a boss. You can't control outcomes that aren't responsible to you. Meaning, I can control certain things such as my attitude, my mindset, my goals, anything that's pertaining to yourself you can control. And what do I mean by that is you have a more positive when you have a more positive outlook on life, and when you have that kind of mindset where you're like, I'm going to keep moving forward regardless whether I like it or not, you're going to move a lot more forward. And whether it might be fast or not, I do want to let you guys know the process is a long time, especially with my YouTube video. I woke up, posted it before I went to work. Excited. Yeah, 4 views. Who cares, dude? But guess what? I always said to myself, as long as one person watches it, I got my point out there. I'm happy, I'm okay. But guess what? As time goes on, maybe that 4 might become 10. Maybe that 10 might become 100. Maybe that 100 might become 1,000. That 1,000 might become 10,000. You get the point. So moving forward is very interesting. And what I want to let you guys know is, here's the truth of what I learned about moving forward, is that nothing changes until you stop living in the past and start showing up in the present. And what do I mean by that? Give you guys an idea. I want you guys to close your eyes and imagine this. Look at life outside of a camera lens and live it. I said this to my friend Anthony because and why it sticks out to me in this sort of sense is because when you stop looking at life through the camera lens, meaning you're scrolling through social media or anything, and actually start living it, start living your truth, it is going to make you feel 1,000 times better. And what do I mean by that? Yeah, maybe I might have busted my ass. Who cares? Yeah, I failed that project. I tried to do drop shipping. I failed. Who cares? Keep moving forward. Make the mistakes while you got it now and keep on pushing it, dude. Because you're going to be in a lot more better position than when you first started. Of course, starting is the hardest thing of all time, and people don't understand that, is that starting is the hardest part. Actually doing it is a different story. Yeah, you might not get the results, but when you start, it's very nerve-wracking at first. When I started this first YouTube video, I had no idea that anybody's gonna watch it. I thought I was gonna stay on 0 views forever until 4 people decided, hey, listen, it came up on my feed, I'll watch it. Maybe they watched it for 10 seconds, boom, clicked off. Who cares? They still watched it, and I'm excited that people are watching it, because that just means I got 4 people. So if you imagine 4 people in one room, it's very compact. You imagine 100 people in one room. It's going to be very compact, very uncomfortable. 1,000 people. Dude, the room's... it's too much. Too many people. So I do want to let you guys know, I'm going off on a tangent and I'm ranting because a lot of these things are prevalent within the 6-month journey that I had from when I lost my girlfriend, my job, and the living in regret part. So kind of just jumping back on topic. From December all the way till now, which is June 21st. June 21st, 2025, very interesting time in my life. I kind of consider this a checkpoint anytime a year is about to go next year. So, for example, 2026, I'll look back at this time. And I always look at June, for example, because a lot of kids are getting out of school. And the topic always arises, like, how many things that I regret before I complete, like after I completed high school, like what should I have done correctly? And there's nothing I could do besides live in the present and move forward, like I'm saying. And my mindset then was very, very different. I'll tell you, very negative, very, hey, it is what it is, very nonchalant, very I don't give an F kind of situation. And the small actions that I did to now, to my 6-month changes, accept it. Like, try to find yourself, not try to find the girlfriend, kind of heal yourself in the sort of sense that the only love that you really need is your own self-love. And a thing that helped me is a small action that my mom told me. I know it's a little harsh, but she did say one time that, you come in this world alone and you die alone. And that made something like set something off inside me, because the more and more you turn back to the crowd and you want their applause, it's best off that you want it from yourself more than anybody, because nobody's gonna be there for you when you're in your lonely moments, sad moments, good moments, bad moments, things of that nature. So I do want to let you guys know that the way that I took control, again, was just acknowledging that, like self-love, going out on walks, writing, journaling, any thought that popped up in my head, or maybe a regret, kind of not let it dictate my life anymore, because I'm not the same guy I was when I was 17 years old, as crazy as it sounds, 5 years ago. Now, 5 more years from now, I'm going to be 27. Then from 27, I'm not going to be that 22-year-old guy where I'm bumping my head on the wall. Maybe I have a little bit more mental clarity as far as, yeah, maybe I had to go through all that crap in order to move. So I do want to let you guys know that, mental clarity is a very good thing to have, and you only gain that by focusing on living in the present. And progress doesn't necessarily happen in your head. It happens when you act, even if it's messy or even if it's slow. So I don't know if it was Joe Rogan, but it was somebody where they were talking about live your life like as if you have a camera crew following behind you, documenting your journey to success. Whether the success is permanent, no, not permanent, that's a horrible word. Whether the success is short term or long term, you still have to prepare for it, and you got to keep moving every day like you're the main character, because you are in your own story. Everybody is side characters or whatever to everybody else's story, and the only important person is the person that's living it, and the other important person is God, the person above that's kind of overseeing everything, because everybody has a time when they're going to be here and when they're not. So it's best to just keep living in the present, because you never know when your time's going to come. Maybe you're going to have the regrets like the people in the hospitals or the people in the graveyard, like David Goggins says. Like, he just gets sad running past the graveyard because he knows how many people died with regret on their deathbed. And I don't want that to be you guys. So I do want to emphasize, live in the present as much as possible. Please do not make the mistake I made for the past 3 years of my life, or however long is. So what I mean by that is the present is very much important, more than anything, because guess what? The present creates the future. The past doesn't create the future. Does not. What you can do is feel more alive, more clear and driven when you live in the present. And what has happened for me, where I killed the procrastination all the way from the regret, was just acting on the present. There's no time like the present, like they say in sales. Hey, when can you get this done, sir? Just giving you a call script. Hey, sir, when can you get this done? I really don't know. Can we do this next week? Hey, sir, there's no time like the present. I'd like to just get this out to you as soon as possible. Just making it urgent. Creating urgency is a very big thing. And I think what's changed over the 6 months is just I live my life with more urgency, and I live my life to just focus on being more in the present and what can I do now rather than what can I do later. Like, also have a goal in mind of what you want to hit, but also have those short-term goals where you're building systems, being a little analytical. I don't know how you guys are, but as far as me measuring my progress, I like to be very analytical with certain things, because I want to know where I can look back on and say, hey, listen, I didn't do that good, but guess what? Tomorrow's a new day, and I can fix a lot of things that I couldn't do back in the past. And you'll feel, like I said, more alive, clear, and driven. And if you've been putting something off, let this video be the sign to start small. Doesn't even have to be perfect. I really promise you, it really doesn't have to be perfect. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Drop a comment if this hit home or you felt similar, and let's talk about it. I'd like to go back and forth, with the person over the video, just so we're able to conversate. And next topic, I can kind of tailor this to more audiences. Maybe you might be going through certain things that not a lot of people are talking about, that they're not comfortable to talk about, because there are some topics that people are going through that they're not comfortable showing their cards and just putting up a front. So I do want to let you guys know that this should be your call to action to get whatever you've been putting off to start exactly right now after this video ends. And thank you guys for following. Thank you guys for watching. This is Jay Sachs. Call me Jay, whatever works best. Thank you guys again. I hope you guys and your family have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.